Okay, so we're going to do example here. It says that, one, we're going to use synthetic division. Okay? It says given that 2 is a 0. So we know 2 is a 0. So this is factorable. So what we should expect is that when we actually perform the synthetic division, our remainder should be 0. If it doesn't happen to be 0, then we've done something wrong. We need to go back and check our work. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the synthetic division process. I list all the coefficients. Don't forget we're missing our linear term, so we got our 0 and our constant. I'm going to go through the process. I drop the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. And remember, I add, let me use a different color here, drop down the first one, and I'm going to add these terms together. So negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Okay, then we got 2 times negative 1, which is going to be negative 2, and I'm going to add these guys together. That's going to give me a negative 2, and look what happens here. I got 2 times a negative 2, which gives me negative 4, which gives me my remainder of 0. So because the remainder is equal to 0, I know that 2 is 0. Now that was told in the problem, but that's just more a little bit of review. That confirms that this guy, 2, is a 0. So when the remainder is 0, we know that that value is a 0. Let's go ahead and rewrite it. Remember, that's our constant, linear, and quadratic. So putting all these guys together, we have x squared minus x minus 2. There's no remainder, so this is what's left over. Okay? So what this is really telling us is, if we were going to work backwards, is if 2 is a 0, then that means that x minus 2 is a factor. Okay? So if I was to take x minus 2 and my quotient, which is x squared minus x minus 2, and multiply them together, I would be back at my original problem. Okay? So this is a factor, this was our quotient, and this was our original problem. Okay, so if I put these back together, I'd be back at where I started. So this is just another example, worded slightly different, and the idea is, if we know that it is a 0, we just start with whatever that value is and perform our synthetic division process.